Here we are, we locked down in different cities, and our virtual connection falls apart. Guess it's been too many years since California. Now the memories of us is all I have. See, one day I'm gonna reach ya, take a plane for many miles. We pretend that time didn't pass us by when we're on Mulholland Drive. I know it won't be long before dawn, gotta be patient for a while. Someday we'll look at stars in this same sky, when I'm on the other side.
This isn't just merch, it's what teams wear when they mean business. Every stitch, every print, every detail, made to perform. Trusted by the grind, from grassroots to championship halls. Build your team store. Wear the brand that wins. SpartanWare, trusted by the grind.
RSCast is the stats that we're bringing. Stream alerts, you know that's where we're pinging. The usual plays and the fails that we're showing. How's the week gone? It's what we're reviewing. Yeah. Rhino cast in the flesh, he's made the attendance. Paying for him, drained all of our RSC's account balance. He's made it big now, casting the main event action. Doesn't cast for us now, does it not give him satisfaction? Pegasus is his name, but of course we can't forget the sir. Team Surrey haven't missed you as AGM, it was a blur. Didn't take long to win franchise of the season without you. Finally got yourself a haircut, that's so long way overdue. Well, we got ourselves a real life lunchbox on screen. With Kingsman around, there's one less player on your team. Dan Skew didn't want to run it back, not surprised man. Even scared of cash so fast, he flew straight to Japan. Lastly, Ma, please do us a favor and don't break the stream. If you didn't have VMix, you wouldn't even be on the team. RSCast is the stats that we're bringing. Stream alerts, you know that's where we're pinging. The usual plays and the fails that we're showing. How's the week gone? It's what we're reviewing.
Welcome back to the most consistent RSC related podcast in the world today. That's right, RSCast is back, folks. And once again, I have my main men right next to me. Sir Pegasus is back this week, and we've got King. Now, Hodge is still here holding it down, and we massively respect it. Hodge, how are you doing tonight, man?
I got invited back. I'm surprised after what happened last week. So no, it's great to be here. And this time, you know, we're not really talking about week 5. We're not talking about academy playoff predictions, prospect playoff predictions. They've already happened. So it's time to get into the next couple of tiers.
Yeah, absolutely. Pegasus, just out of curiosity, what is Hodge talking about when he said what happened last week?
Look, I miss absolutely everything. I missed absolutely everything this season.
You didn't come back and watch it. You didn't study.
Fake fans.
Let's chill. Being completely transparent to everyone at home, because I feel like they deserve to know this. I was supposed to actually be on an RSCast stream earlier this season, and the reason I couldn't make it, I confirmed it a day before that I was available. And then I looked at my calendar and it was my mum's birthday the next day. So unfortunately, I placed my priorities in the wrong order and RSCast ended up getting cancelled. I just wanted to put out that public apology. That's on me.
There's currently a fly on my camera, by the way, just to put it out there.
Well, we've started well, boys. Listen, we have got to get through everything that happened last week. We've got to talk about what's happening next week. So let's start with a recap from Academy and Prospect playoffs. So we're going to start in Academy. We're going to start with the play-ins. We're going to start with Hodge.
Yeah, so we kicked things off with the Academy play-ins, and we had some wonderful series there to kick things off on that first day. We kicked things off with ODL Magain, as I was corrected to after saying Magain for a series and a half, taking down Death Cloud Rain there. It was quite a competitive one, but that team of ODL, you know, I think they started off the season really well. They were probably favoured in that matchup, and Death Cloud's rebuild against them wasn't quite enough. They moved forward and played a difficult Berserkers team who were on top for quite a lot of the season in the Academy Ignis Conference, but faltered a bit towards the end. Magain took them down, kept that momentum rolling. And then we saw what a lot of people considered a bit of an upset in that upper bracket, but due to some roster issues, wasn't quite so. DSQ Livens taking down Brave Arconics in Game 6. And yeah, it was a very interesting way to kick off the play-ins there. But yeah, moving forward to day number 2, we had Aspire Ascent taking down Unitalk Xinjiang. It angered a lot of people that Garlic Bready was able to get a win in the year 2026, but not for too long, because it was dismissed there by 20R with their 1600 player in Academy, only to move forward. And well, you'll see what happened to him later on in the brackets. Not exactly wonderful, but yeah, then that uppers match, Chrome Husky versus Mistaken Purpose. I think the amount of times I've casted those two teams playing in Academy over the past 2 seasons, probably more than individual RSC games that I've won in my RSC career. So yeah, but it went the way of Chrome Husky this time, and they moved forward in the uppers, Mistaken to the lowers.
Hodge there with one of the boldest uses of the word career you're ever going to see in your entire life. Moving on, as we take a look at the playoffs. What happened on Saturday in Academy Sir Pegasus?
First of all, I just want to say, Hodge, you've been harsh on yourself there. You have to get game wins to pull off draws over in RSC. So actually, you've got quite a few there to count. But I'm going to start off in the lower bracket with Brave Arconics knocking down Magain, the team that did come from that upper bracket. 20R also able to advance, going the full distance with a Game 5 win over Purpose. So they did prove that they were a strong side in lower bracket, but unfortunately not enough. And to decide who their opponents would be, Livens and Unito went into a Game 6, the second longest series that was possible in that upper semi-finals. It would have been a tough loss for them, but as we'll find out later, it may not have been as bad as it initially seemed. Husky managed to take down Mushy P-Brains as well in that Game 5, which allowed Team Serene and Chrome to meet in that upper finals, where Team Serene earned their early spot into the grand finals. But to find out what that second team was, there was still a whole lower bracket. 4 series to go. It started off with Shell immediately upon falling down to the lower bracket, getting eliminated from the competition by Brave in Game 4. Livens advanced past 20R with a sweep, and then were eliminated by these lower bracket giants that are Arconics. Will they run out of steam, or will this momentum be too strong? They had to go the full way to Game 7 in the lower finals, but ultimately Husky just got that one over the line in the final possible game. And whilst that was a rather extended lower finals in terms of grand finals, this was short and sweet, with Team Serene proving once again why they are such a better organisation without me at the helm at AGM.
Yeah, we actually did talk about your allegiances last week to Team Serene, and that you had, of course, predicted them to take home the victory, and that's exactly what they did. Congratulations to Team Serene Unito. your Academy champions for RSC Season 18. Congratulations to everybody involved. Vice, Jazz, Cairo, and Remco, and of course the wonderful Meaty Pig as the GM for Team Serene as well. Great work as the first champions of this new season. Great work, everybody involved. Right, let's now take a look at the next tier up. Let's take a look at the prospect tier, and actually we're going to switch it up this time. We're going to have Sir Pegasus talk us through the play-in.
Well, immediately my attention goes straight towards that lower bracket, specifically that first row with 2 Game 7s in a row for Templars Crusaders, just squeezing their way past Swift. They knew it would have to be the longest fight possible to get themselves into that playoff spot. And Team Berserkers gave them exactly that, took them all the way to that final game, but unfortunately that lightning just could not strike twice. Elsewhere, though, a team that did successfully start from the deepest set point and make it to playoffs was Tenma, with a Game 6 victory versus Aspire, and then a complete sweep against Shadow's Obscurity. I'm not sure many people would have been calling that one in their predictions, but in that upper bracket, we also had Rupelli get past Hot Burple, which is a name, in Game 6, and then Devotion managing to beat Fenrir in Game 5 as well. This, you know, I haven't had the practice with the names without the league play portion, but that's an interesting one, Alpha Surge.
I'm really sorry, Pegasus, but that is zero ball knowledge from you. I've got to say it. We talked again.
I'm sorry.
We talked about it last week. If you were here, you would know exactly. You would have known exactly what every team name that Alpha Surge has got was named after, but you don't, and
yeah, okay.
And that is unfortunate. That the game is the game. Well,
I might know.
You might know.
I might
figured
know.
it out, have you?
I might know. I might know.
Google that.
I because when I was doing predictions yesterday, I think someone mentioned How to Train Your Dragon for one of the higher tiers. Is that correct?
That is correct. That is absolutely
Thank
correct.
you.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
It is.
I've
How
not
to Train Your
watched
Dragon dragons. Absolutely. And they do get better as they go up the tiers, I promise. Moving on then, did Hot Burple make a lower bracket run? Let's find out as we take a look at the playoffs. And, well, Hodge, talk us through
Well, they
it.
didn't. Well, they didn't, but someone did. So ODL Tenma starting off in that lower bracket got their momentum rolling, and as you can see on that bracket, we'll walk it through gradually. They went quite far, but as well on our C stream here for the first time ever on RSC, we saw Berserkers Umargis face off against Chrome at Fenrir. That went all the way to Game 5, but in the end, Umargis comes out on top, moving forward through that lower bracket. In the upper rounds on the A stream and the B stream, we saw Vulpes Rupelli take on Sanctuary Shrine. Two teams who were very sort of, I guess, equally probably favoured in that match. Shrine coming out as the Ignis first seed, Rupelli the second seed from the Glaciers Conference, but everyone knew they were going to be a top contender, and they took down Sanctuary Shrine in Game 6 to move forward to that upper final and claim top 3 in the tier. JPEG's winning ways could not stay in the prospect tier as Kayano took down Mistaken Devotion in Game 5, and we saw some unks of RSC move forward to that upper final as well. So yeah, it's set up for a very interesting top 3, but we needed to find that third team who was going to run through that lower bracket. So we played through some of these lower rounds. Sanctuary Shrine got the better of Berserkers Umargis in Game 4, moving forward to that lower semis. Lower quarterfinals there, ODL Tenma made light work of Mistaken Devotion, essentially just bullied them out of that lower bracket as well. And then moving forward from here, it got quite interesting. The upper finals between Kayano and Rupelli there went the way of Rupelli. People were calling this Kayano roster the Avengers of the prospect tier. The Avengers certainly could bleed here, and they did. But moving to that lower semi-final, this was, in my opinion, the most interesting series of the day. And that was because, there was sort of like, it felt like there was an aura around this Tenma roster, right? They were sort of favoured to go quite far in this bracket. And it was going to be whoever won that match between them and Aspire Embark were favoured by the community to go on quite the lower bracket run, regardless of who they played. It ended up being ODL Tenma, and boy, did they live up to that expectation, reverse sweeping Sanctuary Shrine to move forward to that lower final, where they took DSQ Kayano, the Avengers of the tier, all the way to Game 7. And, well, they didn't quite come out on top, but what an effort it was from them. Kayano moving forward to the grand final, where they did end up losing to Repelli. And to be honest, I thought it was lucky that went to Game 6, because I watched it and it didn't really feel close at all.
Hey, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't. Fair enough. I mean, we just quickly, we got to talk about that lower semi-final, because 3 out of the 4 people who made predictions between Kingsman, myself, Pegasus, and Arch predicted Shrine in 3rd. And if they'd won that game and then Kayano had gone on to the grand final, I would have got 2nd and 3rd correct, and I'd have been the only one to do so. So I'm a little bit upset, but I can't argue about a reverse sweep. Congratulations, ODL. That's a huge result, getting up into 3rd. But the bigger result is going to be Repelli taking home the championship. Your prospect champions for Season 18 of RSC is going to be Volpez Repelli. Congratulations. Evelios as the GM, Ninji Sam, Kaf, Lyra, and Sour SSA. Congratulations, everybody involved with the organization. What a wonderful season and a great way to end it off as well. They might not have made it into the playoffs at the first time of asking, but looking so good right the way from the play-ins all the way through that upper bracket. Well played, Volpez. Right, well, that's all we have to recap from last week, folks. This is going to be a very, very short episode of RSCast, because now we are going to move on to our predictions. This week, we've got Challenger and Rival coming up, and we're going to start with Archer's predictions in Challenger. I will talk through Archer's predictions because, you know, he's been pretty boring, hasn't he? Look at that lower bracket. The winners from round 1 losing in round 2. Come on, Archer, a bit of creativity would be nice. Up on that upper side, though, he's got Volpez going down to Dynasty and Nightmare able to bring themselves through Sentinels. It looks like a monstrous victory in that second game as well. Those who know do indeed know. As I say, nothing really to report on the bottom side. Atmos to go through in the lower bracket after beating Qantas, who beat Ember, and then Sassanami going through against Rise, who were able to beat Havoc in a Game 7, apparently, in that first round. So, with that said, let's move on to Archer's playoff predictions here in Challenger. And who has he got winning the whole thing? He's got DSQ Canaans running the gauntlet against Dynasty and Zippy twice to make their statement here in this tier. But let's see how we got there. So Volpez per leader, able to beat Atmos, but going down to Nightmare. Then Sassanami making a little bit of a run, beating Sentinels, but not being able to get past Dynasty in the next round. Then Dynasty are going to make a run in that lower bracket all the way through to that lower final by beating Nightmare and Sassanami in the earlier round. But they do lose to Zippy in that lower finals, only for Zippy to lose to Canaans in the grand final. Do you agree with Archer's predictions? Let us know in the chat, even though we absolutely won't read it. And we will move on to Pegasus's predictions for Challenger.
Well, I'm just going to say that I was close to being boring in that lower round with Sassanami. Of course, I've got going through Rise with a 4-2, going Game 6 in that first round. It's a bit of an early exit for a Team Chrome roster. I find that they tend to go pretty far. But in that second round, I have it as a complete sweep. However, where I decided to get a little bit interesting was on that opposite side, because I had a little look at all of these rosters, and I believe in my former teammate Onesie. I know he's capable. It doesn't matter how early in the tournament he finds himself in during the play-ins and playoff stage. If he is locked in, he's very close to unstoppable. So I've got Game 6 versus Ember, Game 5 versus Atmos, because I want it to be a performance that sets a statement to the rest of the competition. And at the top, I've also got Paladin going to Game 7 versus Dynasty, and Nightmare and Sentinels also going to 7. I was really struggling to pick a favourite out of those two.
Yeah, there you go. It's a tough bracket for sure to predict. As we'll take a look at your playoff predictions now, Pegasus, and it's not far off of what Arch said.
Yeah, I mean, look, there are two very defining teams in Challenger, and of course it is Canaan's. It's Zippy. They went undefeated throughout their entire season, and that's been a bit too much for a lot of us that have been predicting to go up again. So I'm just going to get it out of the way. I've got them sweeping their first round in the upper brackets, which is going to send Volpers and Alpha Surge down towards the lowers. In that upper final, I struggled. I looked at the rosters, tried to, speak to any higher powers to give me a preference, and I decided on Zippy to take this one in Game 6 and send DSQ underneath. Please, can no one tell Yo-Yo about that? In the lower bracket, I believed in 1Z to get here, and then Dynasty looked too good. So unfortunately, that's a Game 4 loss. That's enough for me. It's a fresh new day. Sometimes you're not always prepared for it. I've also got Dynasty losing to Nightmare in that Game 4 regardless, because just looking at the initial seedings, I believed it. It didn't feel like there were too many surprises there for me, though ODL, I've got going Game 4 versus Sentinels. This lower bracket run continuing through Team Volpes to get them to the lowest semi-finals and knocking out Volpes. But then some dreams have to die. Nightmare taking them down, Game 4 into the lower final. I wanted there to be a little bit of a fight here because I didn't expect one in the grand finals, just like we saw in Prospect as well. So I've got that one going to Game 7, and then I just want Zippy to establish themselves as the best team in the tier. I don't know how on earth Tank, Axlos, and Leighton were allowed to fit on run roster, but for me, that's just too powerful.
There you go. So the same final, but a different result here for Pegasus, as he predicts Zippy to take home the victory. Now, Hodge, as a substitute member here of RSCast, it's unfortunately you have not done predictions that are going to be shown on this stream. However,
I'm actually quite glad, to be honest. I don't get to get cooked by the entire chat. So.
That's very true. That's very true. Well, you can support chat in absolutely cooking Kingsman, whose predictions we are going to take a look at next, and you can talk us through what Kingsman thought were going to be his play-in predictions.
You know what? I actually don't mind these. I'm having a look at them. I don't mind these. I think Dexterity do look like the side to come out on top of that lower round. But I do think that Death Cloud series could be quite close. I'm just happy he's not got Flossie winning a series. That's all that matters to me here. But in that lower bracket as well, the interesting thing is he's got Chrome Havoc coming out against Aspire Rise, where I believe the other two that we've looked at so far didn't quite have that. So shaking it up a bit, but yeah, at the end of the day, ODL Assassin Army coming out there in that lower bracket, and qualifying through there. In that uppers round, he's got Mistaken Dynasty over Volps Palada there in Game 6. So a bit of a switch up result there as well. And I have to say, I don't know about this Fort Templar Sentinels 4-1 over Alpha Surge Nightmare. I don't know if I'd go quite that much of a dominant performance to Sentinels, but we'll see how it all unfolds. But yeah, I think decent predictions here from Kingsman, but a couple of shaky ones.
A couple of shaky ones in the play-ins. Well, there's more opportunities for some shaky ones in the playoffs. So let's take a look at Kingsman's playoff predictions.
What? Okay, well, this is certainly interesting. Okay, so I'm just having I just looked at that grand final. I was like, okay, right. So we're already shaking it up a little bit here. Now the question is, Rash Zippy haven't lost a series all season. Do we really think they're dropping a series in Game 7? After a lower bracket run from Mistaken, after they've had to sweat, after they've had to pour all their energy throughout that lower bracket. Do you really think they're then going to drop a series in Game 7 to Mistaken Dynasty, where Kingsman does, but that's why he's not here and I am. So, yeah. Moving to that lower bracket, we've got Dexterity moving forward a little bit in the bracket, but getting taken down by Sentinels, who he seems to be pretty high on. But, every team that they play apart from Zippy and Dynasty. But, yeah, that Assassin Army team run comes to an end as well after they sweep Alpha Surge Nightmare, which I don't know if I see that happening either. I think, I don't know. It's questionable. It's questionable. Put it that way.
Questionable at best from Hodge. Kingsman isn't here to defend himself, but honestly, that's probably for the best. So we've currently had just Arch go for Kanan's taking it. Both Pegasus and Kingsman both believe that Zippy are going to take home the victory in the grand final, though in different circumstances for both of them. So now it's my turn. Let's take a look at my predictions for the play-ins. Have I been boring? No, I haven't. Let's go. Qantas gonna get through in that second round, which has been the case for a lot of today. Don't get me wrong. I just made the point earlier about Archer's predictions, and he'd predicted, no one to go through from round one.
This is becoming the new boring. This like predicting Qantas to go win 2 series is the new boring. We've all been boring.
Yeah. Somehow Arch is the outlier. I don't quite understand it.
He's setting the trend.
Yeah, our streamer is going absolutely radio rental behind the scenes at the moment because all of us have Ember going out early doors, and
that's how it should be.
I was saying, to be honest, just be better. Do you know what I mean? Like it really isn't that difficult, folks. No one's got Brave doing anything, unfortunately.
And guess what? That's coming up in 30 minutes, so we can all watch it as well.
There you go.
Ooh,
Brave, prove us wrong.
I
look forward to it. I do think Qantas have got enough to go through their 2 6-game series. On the other side of the bracket, I think Aspire can just about get past Chrome. But then, yeah, I've got Sassanami able to get into that later bracket. Then on the top side, I mean, Hodge, you talked about it a moment ago with Sentinels and Nightmare. You didn't think it was going to be that big a victory. I do. I think it's going to be a...
And you're the same person who also asked where the series of 4s had gone, like last week when we were doing the podcast.
Yeah, I was. Yep. Don't worry about it. On the other side, Dynasty are looking to take down Volpez as well on that top side. I think Dynasty are going to have a half decent run at least until they run into one of the 2 top teams that we've already discussed. So let's take a look at the playoffs. Then the playoff bracket for Challenger for me. And, well, they ran into one of the 2 top teams, didn't they? So Dynasty gets sent down into the lower bracket first time of asking, and so do Sentinels. Meanwhile, on the lower side of the bracket, I don't believe I've got anyone making an especially strong lower bracket run. I don't. Qantas losing immediately, and so Assassinami. And then Polida losing to Sentinels, who dropped down from the top, and Nightmare dropping to Dynasty as well. I think that Sentinels versus Dynasty game is going to be quite fun, though. I think that's going to be a close game. I've got Dynasty just about taking it as they play against Zippy, who lost in a 7-game series from that upper final. And then I think this is going to be a barnstormer of a grand final. 2 teams that haven't lost all season going toe-to-toe. A 7-game series followed by a 6-game series I've got. So anyone casting that grand final, I wish you the best of luck. It's not going to be especially nice, but at least the quality should be up there between Kanan's and Zippy. I just have Kanan's taking it at the very end, but I think it's going to be a really, really tough bracket for both of those sides. I think those are the 2 teams that are competing really for Challenger. I'd love to see someone surprise us, but I really do think it's going to be Kanan's and Zippy in that grand final. So that is everything for Challenger. We have now got to get through the next tier up, which of course is going to be our rival predictions. We're going to go to Archer's predictions first. And boys, when we come to you, please try and finish these off relatively quickly. I believe we need to get... Actually, we've got time. We've got time. I don't know what I'm talking about.
30 minutes.
Yeah, for some reason I had 22 in my head as like our end time. It just isn't. So we're so relaxed. We're so relaxed. So Arch has got, out of all of the games here, only one of them not going 6. Arch has got 6-game series pretty much all the way across the board, starting with Rapid taking down Nightfall, and the only 7-game series on his board, Mistaken Identity taking down Rapid in a 4-3 game. Then on the other side, Zippleback beating Chianina, and 20 Rockets able to beat Zippleback there. Then on the top side, he's got Lagapus able to beat Vortex, and Flame taking down Raiju. So lots of 6-game series here for Arch. Let's move on to his playoff bracket and see if Hodge makes a noise about this. Okay. All right.
Good sign.
Stuff.
Good
yeah,
sign.
That's a good sign. That is a good sign. Let's start in the lower bracket. Any lower bracket runners? Oh my goodness. Yes, there is. 20 Rocketeers to the moon. 3-2 win against Raiju. 3-1 win against Lagapus. 3-2 win against Marvel. And then falling at the final hurdle, finishing third in rival tier as they lose to Brave Flame in the lower final. I love that for Arch. Not one to take those kinds of risks. So I love to see it. Mistaken Identity are able to beat Vortex, but then Mushy P-Brains are just going to be able to take down Marvel. That 5-game series in the lower semi-final looks so exciting. 20 Rocketeers versus Mushy P-Brains Marvel. And then, as we say, moving on. On the top side, Caligo beating Lagapus and Flame beating Marvel to set up Caligo versus Flame in the upper final, which will be repeated in the grand final. Flame will get a measure of revenge, but not enough. Archeon has Caligo taking home the rival tier championship for RSC season 18. And, well, let me put it this way. That is that is going to be a pretty standard result that you're going to see across these predictions. I'm just gonna say that as I'm sure a lot of people will agree with it as well. But let's first take a look at Sir Pegasus's predictions and what have you got going on for the play-ins?
Well, I must say, Rival is unbelievable this season. There are so many players that I remember back playing in Elite that are in this tier now, and it has been very stacked. It's been very difficult, but I've still made my attempts. And we're starting off with something interesting. In actually both of my lower brackets, I have Rapid going all the way. Game 5 versus Nightfall. Game 7 versus Identity. I had to make that one close. That one's Alex, Jameso, and Resist Jaguar. I like that team as a whole, but unfortunately, I wanted the storyline. I want the lower bracket run. I went for the same on the other side as well. Zippleback versus Chianina was the hardest prediction I had to make out of every single prediction I have done thus far this season. Because I had to pick between Wolfie or Mox ultimately to play playoffs. These are two playoffs demons. They know when to step up when it is bracket time. And this time I chose Mox. So I have him winning in Game 6. I got them going to Game 5 against 20 Rocketeers as well. I love you, 20R, but whoever I was going for in that round 1, they were going all the way just for the sake of history. In the upper bracket, I had Flame going 4-0 versus Raiju, and I don't see too many complaints about that in the chat. That definitely makes a change. I've seen a lot of the Team Volpez guard there as well. I'm sure they'll be happy to see that I've got them going through to the uppers in Game 6 against DSQ's Vortex.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tough bracket to predict. Absolutely. I respect though that you've got a few different results other than just 6-game series across the entirety of play-ins. That's good from you. Let's take a look at your playoff bracket then. Let's see what's going on over there.
We're going to start off in the uppers this time. I'm going to switch it up for once. I've got Caligo getting the win against Lagapus because I looked at the roster. I saw Wonder. I was there when he got his first ever trophy in RSC, and that was enough for me. I was convinced that he was going to advance with that. I really like the look of that Flame roster as well, so call it boring. I've got both of the seed ones going through, but Ken's Nextfox and Morv are just an extremely good roster. They've got Zach G1 as well on that team. I actually don't know who that first 3 are on the roster. And then in that upper finals, I do have it going to 7 between the top seeds. In the lower bracket, I got Vortex sweeping their way through, then beating Mushy P-Brains in a Game 5. I've got Zippleback getting defeated by Raiju, and then to keep the pattern going, I've got 0-2s out the upper bracket. We haven't had enough 0-2 curses mentioned so far in the prediction, so I knew that it was my responsibility to bring that one to the stream, and I just wanted to keep the sweeps going as well. So I've got Vortex sweeping Raiju. I've then got Vortex continuing the lower bracket run with a Game 5 win versus Flame. We have to have at least one every single season. This is where I'm going to put it in the grand final. They'll win that first series, and then they'll lose to Wonder. He'll get another trophy. I mean, fair play, you tried. Game 5, it's over.
You tried. That's
it's a tough
that's
world
the
out
message
there.
from Mr. Biggest. It is.
It's a tough world out here. Come on. Heartbreaks have to happen.
They do. They do. That's the way it goes sometimes, man. That's the way it goes. You work so hard for something, and then it just doesn't happen for you at the end of the day. So that's another vote for a Caligo victory, even if it is in a reverse sweep in the grand finals. We've now got Kingsman's predictions. Let's start with this play-in bracket, Hodge, and well, yeah, as I say, you've kind of got to deal with what Kingsman's put in front of you here.
Yeah, I'll be so real. I don't know anything about Rival this season, like literally nothing. Nice. So yeah, we'll sort of quickly shift through them. But just like you, Pegasus, Kingsman has also backed Mox there and Zippleback to run through that lower side and qualify to the lower bracket, to the playoffs. They're knocking out Giannina and 20 Rocketeers. Shadow Nightfall, he's got taking down Rash Rapid and Mistaken Identity. Another close series there. I think everyone said, regardless of who's playing in that, that's going to be a close series. But people have got different teams making it through. And yeah, Kingsman getting nice and interesting here, having both of the teams making it through the lowers, be the lower seed to win both their games. But moving to look at that upper bracket as well, he's got Lagapus there winning in Game 7 over DC Vortex, and then Flame taking down Raiju as well to qualify for the upper bracket playoffs.
There you go. So, again, I don't see too many differences. Maybe Mistaken not going through against Nightfall, but outside of that, it seems... actually, 20 Rocketeers is going to be a big point of discussion, because obviously Arch had them making a long old lower bracket run, and
everyone else had them going out instantly.
Exactly, yeah. If Zippleback get that victory, then it's
420R.
It's all going to be a bit interesting. But there you go. Let's take a look at Kingsman's playoff predictions then, and Hodge, it's another vote for Caligo.
You know what? This is ball knowledge. Kingsman is a believer in Rex and Cutie Pie. My prospect goats from last season, who won my franchise a trophy back at MPB, and while he doesn't quite have them winning, that second place will do. But yeah, I mean, looking at this, he's got the first seed of MPB Marvel, taking down Brave Flame. Not many people seem to have that. And yeah, I mean, DSQ Caligo, the favourites here in everyone's minds. But yeah, they're going to go through to the grand final. Through this lower bracket, though, we're going to have DC Vortex making a little bit of a run, but put to a stop there by Marvel in Game 7. Vortex going on quite the run. Everyone seems to be predicting them to do pretty highly, regardless of how their early rounds go. As they take down Nightfall, they take down Flame. I believe that should be Shadow Nightfall and not Mistaken Nightfall. But I guess, if you combine two franchises, then you've got twice the chance at winning. But yeah, Brave Flame also taken down Alpha Surge Zippleback as well. And yeah, they went on a bit of a run as well, if you look at that, from play-ins round 1 all the way to take down Raiju, to take down Lagapus in Game 5, and then fall into Deathcloud there. So a couple of lower bracket runs sort of being tested with, being tampered with, but in the end, the same prediction of DSQ Caligo.
I really enjoy the Zippleback and Vortex kind of mirror run on that lower bracket side. That makes me very happy. But I'm not sure we're going to see it again. Let's put it that way. As we now take a look at my predictions for the rival tier. We're going to start, as we always do, in the play-ins. And I've almost pulled an arch there. 4 out of the 6 games I've got going to 6, whereas the other 2 I've got as 7-game series. So I do think Zippleback have just enough to get past Giannina, but I believe in 20R. I've got, just like Arch did earlier, 20 Rocketeers going through against Zippleback to at least start a lower bracket run. Up on the other side, I've got Rapid to get through against Nightfall, which again goes against a lot of the predictions that we've had so far. And in fact, not only that, I've got Rapid to beat Identity as well. Why not? Go the distance, my guys. Let's go for it. As we take a look on the upper side, Vortex falling into the lower bracket pretty early on. Lagapus staying in that upper bracket. And then Brave Flame. Tough game against Raiju, but I think they've got enough to win it in 7. Let's take a look at my playoff predictions then. Who have I got taking it? And it's someone other than Caligo. Holy moly. Look at that. Now. Now. Let's talk about it. So, no real lower bracket runs other than Caligo themselves. So, I've got 20 Rocketeers being stopped at the start. And by the way, the chat has never seen more chaotic reaction to a prediction in their life. Some people saying L ball knowledge, other people saying ball knower.
Some people.
That's what predictions are, guys. That's what they are. So I've got Vortex to beat Rapid, but then unfortunately to lose out to MPB Marvel, who lost out to Flame on that upper side. But I've really got a feeling about Lagapus for some reason. There was something when I was going through the standings and the brackets, I just couldn't shake it. Lagapus are 5 victories on the spin. They had a little bit of an unfortunate run between week 2 and week 3 where they lost 3 on the bounce, and that's what's given them that 3rd place finish. But I actually think they're a better team than that. I think they deserve a bit more respect than that. Well, okay, I say a bit more. I've got them to win the whole thing, but you know, I do think they've really got an opportunity.
I can't wait for all displays, and then they just go into.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for the double loss. I cannot wait.
On the playoffs.
The absolute scenes. But yeah, I've got Lagapus beating Caligo in a 7-game series, which is going to send Caligo down into the lower bracket. And now my thought there is that Caligo are then going to have to go on a long lower bracket run, 3 games down in the lower bracket. I think they're all going to be relatively close games. So by the time it gets to the grand final and Lagapus meet them again, I think Lagapus are going to be the fresher. I think they're going to be feeling a little bit better about it. And I think they're going to be able to take it in an easier fashion. And there's not really too much else to discuss. Brave Flame just not going to get it done against Volpez. I don't see that happening. And then I think Caligo have got too much for them as well. So I've got it as an all Glacies final. And we'll see if Lagapus can go on and do it. But hey, at least it's something different. Hey boys, at least we've not got all 4 of us predicting the same champion, because how dreadful would that be? That would be really really boring. And guys, that's RSCast done. That's us boxed off and signed off for the second week of playoffs. Hodge, thank you very much for joining us again. We appreciate you being here. If all goes to plan, you will also be here next week. So I think we're going to have conversations about you being a mainstay here on RSCast. But no, seriously, obviously we've had Prospect and Academy last week. We've got Challenger and Rival coming up this week. Are there any particular potential matchups that you're looking forward to this week seeing?
I just hope it's not a boring playoffs for 2 more again. Like, can we just get like an exciting bracket where we get if a lower bracket run happens, it gets completed? Can we get a bracket reset? Can we get an interesting grand final? Can we get Ignis actually winning a series for once? Because Glacies have dominated in both tiers so far. Thank goodness we don't play the All-Star games, because they wouldn't be close. But yeah, I mean, I want to see some good Rocket League. I want to see some close Rocket League. I want to see some good playoff series.
Love to see it, absolutely. And Pegasus, now that you're back in the RSC fold, we brought you back for a week. Obviously playoffs, and I believe you're actually going to be casting tonight, which we're very excited about. Talk to the people a little bit about that.
Yeah, I am going to be doing a bit of casting. I don't think it's tonight. I think it's on Friday. But I am going to be there for some of the play-ins. So I'm very excited for that. Unfortunately, someone could not make one of the days. And I thought, hey, why not? This has got me in the right mood. So I did schedule that actually during the stream. So sorry about that, guys. Might not be 99%. But you get 2 extra streams out of it. So, okay.
2 extra streams. Deal with it. That's how we're going to box this off. But there you go, RSCast done for another week. As we say, the most consistent podcast that is
to
RSC that you've ever seen in your entire life.
I'll still have more episodes on mine. I'll still have more episodes on mine. Meanwhile, this guy, the host of the RSC podcast, is sat here in the first episode in week 5 going, what happened to series of 4, guys? What season of RSC is this again?
I did say that.
Oh no.
I did say that.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was okay. Well, he has just outed me at the end of the cast, so we're gonna shut this one down.
That's what you get.
And as I said, we might have to make Hodge a mainstay. Not anymore, buddy. Not anymore. That is that offer is off the table, very, very sharply. But thank you very much, everybody, for watching RSCast. It's been an absolute pleasure to bring this to you. We have obviously got so many streams coming up this week. We've got tonight, tomorrow night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night for all of your RSC needs. It's going to be the rival tier and the challenger tier. But coming up just after this, in 15 minutes time, we have got the first game of the challenger tier play-ins. Make sure you stay tuned. We will see you next week. Take care, everybody.
This isn't just merch, it's what teams wear when they mean business. Every stitch, every print, every detail, made to perform. Trusted by the grind, from grassroots to championship halls. Build your team store. Wear the brand that wins. SpartanWare, trusted by the grind.
This is trophi.ai, an AI Rocket League coach, and it's absolutely crazy what you can do with this. If you've ever heard of ballchasing.com, it's a lot like that, but on steroids.
I can press P and a pro demo will come up, and this is what's so cool and so unique about Trophi, is that this is not seen anywhere else, and it's just a great way to kind of show you how to do a training pack without having to side by side watch a YouTube video.
And this is actually really cool. Training paths. So you basically, you know the skill trees from Assassin's Creed, Spider-Man, Sekiro, you know that sort of games where you have to, you get skill points, use them, you unlock new skills. This is sort of very similar, but instead of actually getting skill points, you're actually doing the mechs. And also a cool feature as well, guys, watch this. You can slow it down. You can actually slow-mo it like this. So if you're really struggling, what you need to do, you can actually look for yourself and just have a look at the exact sort of movements that you're doing there. Look, it's really cool. I really like it. And
alongside helping with mechanics, it also has a feature that analyzes any of your saved replays. That way you can see what you're doing well and what you need to improve on. It even has this cool post-game analysis so that you can see stats from the game you just played.
Can you feel it? It's that feeling you get when community comes together to create something big. Can you see it? Hundreds of people wanting to be the next up and the first ones there. Can you hear it? The sound of fans clapping, chanting, experiencing. It's about time this group got together. Don't you think? This autumn, RSC Landemonium returns and we are going bigger and better than ever before. £1,000 prize pool, as well as giveaways to win on the day.
Oh no! Goes for the bump. He leaves Oz out of the way. And that's Councillor Sir taking game 1.
The Red Bull gaming sphere in London will once again feel the power, the energy, and the noise that the RSC community can bring.
Away by Frank, now looking for the redirect from Matrix. Oh my goodness, he's got it! Oh, Matrix, that's outstanding! What on earth has happened there?
Mark your calendars, September 19th, we'll see you there.